Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Hope you're doing well. So, we got a little bit of Seahawks news this morning. Kind of old news at this point. This stuff came out yesterday, known yesterday. Most people have probably already heard about it, but didn't make a video yesterday, so let's go over it. Basically, after that Bears preseason game, the Seahawks had a pretty good idea of who was not going to make the next round of cuts. And that kind of makes sense, right? You play that bad in a preseason game, and it just makes sense that you would immediately be able to go, okay, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone. So we got our cuts in several days in advance of the deadline, which I believe is Tuesday. So here we are, Sunday morning, and we already know pretty much with a great degree of certainty that these are going to be the guys. So we are down to 80 players on the roster, and the dearly departed include defensive back Bubba Bolden, tight end Cade Brewer, linebacker Matthew Gotol, probably mispronounced that, defensive back Elijah Jones, which I'm kind of grateful for because I kept calling him Elijah Penny. I think there's a fullback on the Giants named Elijah Penny. And here's a little bit of a surprising one, linebacker Joel Iyiegbuniwe. So we are now down to 80. We also had a veteran in for a free agent visit. I'll talk about that a little bit at the end of the video. Kenny Young, linebacker, which makes sense. Pretty obvious why we're doing that. But looking at this list of cuts, Cade Brewer makes all the sense in the world. Matthew Gotol, yeah, I don't even know if I saw him play on defense at all, even in the preseason. Elijah Jones, I actually thought did one or two things that were kind of nice, but obviously long odds to make the roster. These are some guys you may see end up on the practice squad. The other two, however, are a little more interesting. So you've got Bubba Bolden, who I thought was making some noise on special teams. And our special teams have been really bad through two preseason games, but I thought Bubba Bolden was actually kind of all over the field there, and I'm a little surprised he didn't at least make it to the next round of cuts. He was one of the UDFAs we picked up who there was some excitement around, and I'm hoping he can leak through to the practice squad. I don't know how likely that is, especially because we're going to have a decent number of days between now and the practice squad getting put together. But hoping that he finds his way through, finds his way back, because he was one of the undrafted rookie guys who I kind of liked and thought there was maybe some potential there. Joel Iyiegbuniwe, I put a lot of effort into learning his name, and now that effort has gone to waste because he doesn't even make it past the second round of cuts. Iyiegbuniwe is a guy that we signed in the offseason, and I actually made a video about it. It was considered to be a fairly significant pickup. This was a guy who was a really good special teams player for I believe, the Bears last year, and had the opportunity to at least be interior linebacker depth because we were so thin there. And we are still very thin there to the point where it's clearly been a huge weakness for us over the last last two preseason games. And yet, he can't even make it past the second round of cuts. Now, Joel, he wasn't really doing much positive, right? Like it makes sense. I understand it. I'm not gonna protest it. He was not playing well on special teams, and he wasn't playing well on defense at all. Multiple people have documented that, so it wasn't working out. However, I can't help but note that one guy who did make it through this round of cuts is Dublanco. And as somebody who was kind of excited about Dublanco and wanted to see what he could do, that guy cannot play. That guy does not belong on an NFL field at all. He was in a very bad preseason game, probably the worst player on the field for the Seahawks in that game, at least on defense, I would say. He couldn't tackle, he couldn't move, he couldn't cover. He gave you nothing. I don't know why he gets to stick for another week and Iyiegbuniwe gets cut. And honestly, Matthew Gotol, why does he get cut? Dublanco, look, I'm all for letting young, unknown UDFA type guys get a shot while we're not really sure what we're going to do with the position long term. But what I saw from Dublanco was so bad in that Bears game. I don't know how you come back from that. There was just nothing to say except he was getting picked on and he was completely unable to do anything. He couldn't even tackle. And that was something I thought, well, at least you'll be able to tackle, right? Because obviously a player like you with limited physical tools is going to at least be able to wrap up and play disciplined football, but no. So, a little confused about that one. Either way, however, this team finds itself really weak at inside linebacker. Barton is fine and Brooks is good, but after that, it's probably Vi Jones and then not a whole lot. Excuse me. So, because of that, we have had Kenny Young in for a free agency visit. I talked about Kenny Young a little bit in the offseason as a cheap interior linebacker option for the Seahawks. He's done it before. He played in a 3-4 defense previously in his career as an inside linebacker with the, I believe, the Rams and the Ravens. He's been on 3 different teams already in his NFL career, which, I mean, that's not a good sign, right? That's indicative of somebody who can't find a secure landing spot. That's indicative of somebody who isn't, who just can't find the right fit. But he is relatively young. He's 20, well, not young, but he is 27 going on 28 in a few months. And if you look at his measurables from the combine several years ago, what the problem we're having right now, a big problem that I'm seeing with these inside linebackers we've got, like Barton and especially Dublanco, they're just not that fast. Barton and Dublanco are both like 4.7. Dublanco might be like 4.8. And that 4.7, 4.8 speed, you see it on the field with Dublanco where he just can't keep up. So at the very least, I look at Kenny Young and I go, hey, 4.6, he can move a little bit better. He can move a little quicker. Decent measurables. He was a 4th round pick, which beats what Dublanco was, undrafted. So I'm looking at Kenny Young here, and I'm seeing like, okay, has played in a 3-4 before, has had a little bit of success blitzing. He's got 5.5 career sacks, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's not like he plays a ton. Little bit of, made the occasional play, done some positive things. I'm not going to pretend like he should come in and be the starter. I think that's actually probably a really bad idea. But what I can say is that Kenny Young, he's got to be better than what we have, right? It would be hard to not be. So we need slightly better depth at inside linebacker. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't want a retread. I don't want an also ran. I don't want a KJ Wright. I don't want to try to get him out of retirement. I know the comments are going to come up like, hey, we should go call up KJ, get him out of retirement. No, I don't feel any need for that. Ask Jurassic Park and Star Wars how nostalgia worked for them. Not terribly well. But got somebody like this, it makes sense to me. So I don't know what we're going to do at inside linebacker. I think Vi Jones has probably earned himself a roster spot. Maybe John Radigan comes back quickly, although I'm not optimistic about that. But, yeah, that spot's a problem. And be interested to see how we patch it because we've already let 2 go, and you know Dublanco's next. All right, let me know what you guys think down below. See you guys later. Going to be on stream. Serious Sam, Fire Emblem. You know the drill. Peace out. Go Hawks.